Ladies and gentlemen, I came here to wake you up, not just from sleep, but from spiritual slumber. You're breathing, but are you really living? You're moving, but are you walking in purpose? Let me ask you this: if today was your last day on earth, would you be proud of how you lived yesterday? We don't have forever. We just think we do. Life is not promised. Purpose is. And you can't fulfill purpose if God is not first in your life. God first, always, or everything else is out of order. Time is life. Time is not just ticking on your watch. It's ticking away pieces of your life. Every second that passes is a second you'll never get back. Every moment is a currency that cannot be refunded. People say, I'm just passing time, as if time is something to casually waste. No, you're not just passing time. You're spending life. And how you spend your time is how you spend your existence. You can recover lost money. You can even restore broken relationships. But once time is gone, it's gone forever. That's why the most dangerous word in your vocabulary is later. How many dreams have been buried in the graveyard of later? How many purposes have been postponed until tomorrow that never came? Let me break it to you: time is more expensive than gold. You can have all the resources in the world, but if you don't know how to manage your time, you'll lose everything. There are people who have prayed for opportunities, cried for breakthroughs, begged for purpose, and God sent it. But they missed it because they were too busy doing things that didn't matter. Distracted, scrolling, comparing, procrastinating. Listen, your destiny is time sensitive. If you waste the day, you waste the door that was meant to open in that day. If you waste the season, you miss the fruit that was meant to grow in that season. There are things you are supposed to do now that you cannot do later. Time is life, and how you use your time determines the quality of the life you live. You don't need a prophetic word to tell you where your life is headed. Just look at your schedule. What you do daily is a prophecy of your destiny. Your future is not waiting for you to discover it. It's forming with every decision you make today. You can't complain about not fulfilling your purpose if you spend 5 hours watching people fulfill theirs online. You can't say you're too busy when you're actually just distracted. The truth is, we don't lack time, we lack priority. Look at a man or woman of purpose, and you'll see someone who values their time like it's treasure, because it is. Every moment you waste is a door to your destiny you leave unopened. And here's the irony: people waste time trying to fit in, trying to impress, trying to chase things that fade. And in the process, they miss the very thing that makes them truly great. Your greatness is not found in being busy. Your greatness is found in being intentional. You don't have to do everything, you just have to do the right things. And the right thing always begins with putting God first. Because when God is not first, everything else is confused. You'll find yourself chasing opportunities that were never meant for you, saying yes to things that drain you and running in circles, wondering why your life feels stuck. It's not that you're lazy, it's that your time has no direction. Direction is not about movement, it's about purpose. You can run fast in the wrong direction and still go nowhere. But when God becomes your priority, your time starts aligning with your assignment. Start asking yourself, is what I'm doing right now moving me toward my destiny? Or is it just keeping me busy so I don't have to face the fact that I'm off track? You can have the vision, you can even have the talent, but if you don't steward your time, none of it will matter. Think about this: if I gave you 86 or 400 every day and told you to spend it before midnight or lose it, you'd become a master at spending wisely. But God gives you 86 400 seconds every day. And most people don't even think twice about where they went. How different would your life be if you saw every second as a seed? A seed that could be planted in purpose, in growth, in becoming the person you were born to be. Your phone is not the problem. Social media is not the enemy. Your job, your family, your responsibilities, none of them are the issue. The issue is whether or not you're in control of your time, or if you've handed over the steering wheel to distraction. Some people are out here managing empires, raising kids, running businesses, serving their communities, and still finding time to prioritize God, personal growth, and vision. It's not because they have more hours. It's because they know the value of their hours. Wake up. Don't wait until life hits you with tragedy to realize what matters. Don't wait until you're old and full of regret to say, I wish I had spent more time doing what mattered. Regret is the cost of delayed purpose. This is not about being perfect. It's about being present, being intentional, being purpose-driven. Being aware that this breath you're taking right now, it's a gift. Don't waste it. Time is not just passing, it's proving who you are. You become what you consistently do. You become what you consistently prioritize. You become what you consistently give your time to. Priority determines capacity. Priority determines capacity. Let that sink in. You don't need more hours in a day. You need more clarity on what comes first. People often say, I just don't have time. No, what they really mean is, this is not a priority to me. Because when something becomes important to you, you make room for it no matter what. Time always bends in the direction of your priorities. The truth is, life is not overwhelming because you're doing too much. It's overwhelming because the wrong things are in the top positions. You don't lack strength, you lack structure. You're trying to carry weight without establishing what's worthy of your energy. Look around you. People are exhausted, burnt out, angst. They're chasing too many things that don't matter, and they wonder why they don't feel fulfilled. Your soul doesn't run on activity, it runs on alignment. When God is not first, your life gets flooded with obligations, expectations, and noise. You start saying yes to everything and everyone, and before you know it, you're carrying burdens you were never built to carry. Have you ever tried carrying groceries and added just one more bag to save a second trip, and now your fingers are going numb? That's how life feels when you say yes to too many things without checking your priorities. The weight isn't the problem, the misplaced importance is. If your life feels cluttered, it's not because you're busy, it's because your priorities are out of order. The richest people in the world don't have more time than you. They just protect their time differently. They know their energy is limited. They know their attention is sacred. And more than anything, they know that what they prioritize is what they become. Have you ever wondered why some people with less talent, less intelligence, and fewer resources go further in life than those who seem more gifted? It's because they learned the secret: focus follows priority. And where there is focus, there is fruit. When you know what matters most, you stop getting distracted by what matters least. Let me speak directly to you. Your capacity to grow, to lead, to create is directly tied to what you prioritize. You will never rise above what you place second. If peace is second to pleasing people, you'll always be anxious. If purpose is second to comfort, you'll always be bored. If God is second to your schedule, your life will always be out of sync. People keep asking for more energy, more strength, more time, but you don't need more. You need management. You can't multiply what you refuse to manage. A mismanaged life always feels like a burden. But a life managed by priority starts to flow with power. When you put the right thing first, everything else finds its place. Do you remember the first time you cleaned your entire room? Not just tidied it, but gave everything a designated place. Suddenly, the same space felt bigger. You didn't throw anything away, you just reorganized it. That's what happens when you're rid of your priorities. You find out you do have time, you do have space, you do have capacity. It's just been buried under things that were never supposed to be first. Imagine trying to drink from a cup that's upside down. The water's flowing, but nothing's being caught. That's how life works when your priorities are upside down. You're surrounded by opportunities, but nothing is sticking. Nothing is fulfilling. Nothing is being received because your life isn't positioned to receive. It's positioned to react. And there's a big difference. When God is first, you stop reacting to life and start responding with vision. You stop chasing people and start attracting purpose. You stop being pulled in every direction and start moving with intention. That shift from reaction to intention, that's where true capacity begins to unlock. You can't build a skyscraper on sand. The higher you want to go, the stronger your foundation must be. Your foundation is not your goals, it's your priorities. If your foundation is unstable, the whole building shakes under pressure. But when God is the foundation, you gain a supernatural capacity to handle what others can't. You find strength in stillness. You find clarity in chaos. You find endurance when others give up. How many dreams have died not because they weren't good, but because the dreamer didn't prioritize them? How many marriages are falling apart not because of lack of love, but because love wasn't put first? How many souls are crying for purpose, but drowning in distractions? The future is not something you wait for. It's something you prepare for by what you prioritize today. Every decision you make is a vote toward the person you're becoming. What you prioritize today shapes who you are becoming tomorrow. It's not just about time management, it's about life stewardship. If you don't run your life by priorities, someone else will run it for you. And their plan for your life will never match the greatness God intended for you. You don't need to do it all. You need to know what matters most. Because priority doesn't just determine what you do, it determines what you're capable of. The clearer your priorities, the greater your potential. The stronger your focus, the deeper your impact. The more aligned you are with what truly matters, the more unstoppable you become. Order precedes increase, order precedes increase. That's not just a principle, it's a law. It applies in your finances, your relationships, your business, your spiritual walk, your health, everything. You can't ask for expansion while living in disorder. God doesn't pour new wine into old wineskins. Why? Because increase without order will only lead to collapse. It's like pouring water into a broken glass. No matter how much you pour, it will never be enough. Because the problem is not the pouring, it's the container. People keep asking, why haven't I seen the breakthrough? Why am I not growing? Why hasn't more come into my life? But here's the real question, can your life handle more? Have you created space for what you're praying for? Because God doesn't bless chaos, He blesses order. Look at the universe, it's not random. Look at your body, it runs on rhythm. Even the tide knows when to rise and when to fall. Why? Because divine things move in divine order. Many people are gifted, but their life is out of sync. They're anointed, but undisciplined. They have vision, but no structure. That's like planting a seed in the middle of a parking lot and wondering why it won't grow. Seeds don't grow in places without preparation. You can have the right thing in the wrong environment, and it still won't produce fruit. Increase doesn't come to places that look ready. It comes to places that are ready. Have you ever walked into a cluttered room and immediately felt overwhelmed? You couldn't even think clearly, let alone find anything. Now imagine that's your life, cluttered, chaotic, packed with distractions, and yet you're asking for more. But more of what? More pressure, more confusion. God doesn't want to destroy you with blessings. He wants to build you to carry them. And that begins with bringing things into order. Take a look at your daily routine. Is it in order or is it reactive? Full of last-minute decisions, endless distractions, emotional roller coasters, and no clear direction. Some people pray for peace, but refuse to create a peaceful atmosphere. Some pray for financial increase, but won't bring order to their spending. Some ask for deeper relationships, but have no order in their communication or character. What you're praying for is not just spiritual, it's also structural. There's a reason a house has a blueprint before the bricks. Structure precedes substance. Before God formed Adam, he formed the environment. He put the rivers, the land, the plants, the systems in place. Then he placed Adam in the middle of that order. He didn't drop Adam into chaos and say, figure it out. He designed a system, then released the man into it. That's how God works. Increase is placed, not chased. You don't chase more. You create order, and more flows in. I've seen people try to build businesses without systems. Try to build marriages without communication. Try to build ministries without discipline. And when it all crumbles, they say, maybe it wasn't meant to be. No, it wasn't that it wasn't meant to be. It's that it wasn't built on order. Order is not about being rigid. It's about being ready. Order creates space for what's coming. Think of a farmer. Before he ever sees a harvest, he first prepares the soil, clears the weeds, sets boundaries, digs, creates space for the seed. If he skips the preparation, the increase becomes wasted potential. The same is true for you. What area of your life needs to be put in order before you can handle the next level? Is it your calendar, your habits, your friendships, your mindset? You can't say yes to everything and expect to live in peace. You can't let just anyone speak into your life and expect to stay focused. Order sometimes means subtraction before multiplication. Sometimes God will strip away the disorganized, the unstable, the toxic, not to punish you, but to prepare you for the increase. Because if he gave you the blessing too soon, it would crush you instead of lift you. Some people are praying for a platform, but can't manage their private life. They're asking for influence, but they don't have order behind the scenes. God's not withholding, he's protecting. He's waiting for your structure to catch up to your vision, because gifting may open the door, but order is what keeps the door from slamming shut in your face. Think about your phone. When it's full of junk files and updates are ignored, eventually it slows down, crashes, or starts malfunctioning. You've got to delete what's unnecessary, reorganize, make room before the next update can be installed. That's how life works. God wants to upload something new into your life, but you've got to clear the space first. And here's what's wild. Once order enters your life, increase flows almost effortlessly. You stop striving and start flowing. You stop begging and start building. And suddenly, the things you used to chase start chasing you, not because you shouted louder, but because your life became a container worthy of increase. This is why you can't keep ignoring the clutter in your mind, the inconsistency in your discipline, the distractions in your circle. They're not harmless. They're thieves, stealing your capacity, blocking your growth, delaying your assignment. You don't need more effort. You need more alignment. Because order is not about doing more. It's about doing the right things in the right order, so the right results show up. Purpose is not a mystery. It's a decision. Purpose is not a mystery. It's a decision. That single sentence can change everything. Most people wander through life like purpose is some hidden treasure buried in a secret field waiting to be discovered. But let me shake you, purpose is not lost. It's ignored. It's postponed. It's buried under excuses. People keep saying, I'm waiting for a sign, or I don't know what I'm called to do. But the truth is, they're not lost. They're undecided. Because purpose doesn't fall from the sky. It rises from a decision to live intentionally. You don't stumble into significance. You decide to become significant. You choose to live for something greater than comfort. Purpose is not something that finds you in your sleep. It shows up when you wake up and decide you're no longer okay with average. Let's be real, we don't lack purpose, we lack clarity. And we don't lack clarity because God is silent. We lack clarity because we haven't taken the time to ask the right questions and commit to the right answers. People want the result of purpose without the responsibility of purpose. But that's not how it works. Purpose will cost you. It'll cost your comfort. It'll cost your laziness. It'll cost you excuses. You've got to decide to let go of the things that don't align with who you're becoming. Think of a GPS. It can only give you directions once you input a destination. You could sit in your car all day waiting for it to say something, but it won't speak until you decide where you want to go. Life is the same. Purpose doesn't speak until you take a stand and say, this is where I'm headed. That moment of decision activates your direction. No more sitting in neutral. No more idling in fear. Decision turns potential into momentum. You know what's dangerous? Being multi-talented but undecided, gifted but unfocused. That's like having a toolbox full of equipment but never picking the one tool needed for the job. Purpose isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right thing with everything you've got. You don't need 10 plans. You need one decision. That one choice can set fire to your entire life in the best way possible. You see, people waste years waiting on confirmation when what they really need is conviction. You don't need a voice from heaven if you have vision in your heart. Deep down, you already know what you were born to change. You already feel that pull when you're doing something that sets your soul on fire. That's not coincidence, that's purpose knocking. And when it knocks, you don't debate it. You decide. Imagine someone at a buffet who walks around for hours looking at every dish, talking about how good it smells, asking others what they think, but never actually picking a plate. That's what most people do with purpose. They talk about it, pray about it, dream about it, but they don't decide. And until you choose, you starve while standing in front of a full table. Listen, the moment you decide who you are, everything not connected to that identity starts falling away. That's the power of purpose. It simplifies your life. It sharpens your focus. You don't chase trends, you build truth. You stop looking left and right, and you start moving forward. You stop comparing and start creating. Because purpose doesn't compete, it creates space for you. Think of the sun. It doesn't fight with the stars, it just shines. When you decide to walk in purpose, you stop begging for opportunities and start becoming the opportunity. You stop waiting to be chosen and realize you've already been equipped. But equipment only matters if you use it. The world isn't waiting for a perfect version of you, it's waiting for a decided version of you. Purpose makes you uncomfortable. And that's a good thing, it's supposed to. Because it pulls you out of the crowd, it separates you from average. It forces you to grow in areas you'd rather avoid. But the growth is proof you're alive. The pain is evidence you're stretching. Purpose doesn't pamper you, it develops you. People think they're stuck in life because of circumstances. No, they're stuck because of indecision. A made-up mind is stronger than any storm. Once you decide, life starts opening doors you couldn't even see before. Because purpose doesn't follow feelings, it follows faithful action. It doesn't wait for things to be perfect. It starts where you are with what you have right now. Daily life will try to distract you. Responsibilities, noise, opinions, all trying to drown out that still, small voice telling you to move. But you've got to protect your decision like your life depends on it, because it does. Every time you say yes to purpose, you say no to fear. Every time you take one step, you silence 1,000 doubts. You were never meant to drift, you were designed to drive. Purpose puts your hands on the wheel. So stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I fly? Stop waiting for the perfect season and start creating it through action. Stop looking for external signs and start trusting that the vision God gave you was on purpose and for purpose. Don't bury it under analysis. Don't hide it behind fear. Pick it up, own it, decide. Because the moment you make that decision, everything starts to shift. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Every day is a seed, every day is a seed, and you are the sower. What you plant today, you will harvest tomorrow. Life is not a game of chances. Every sunrise is a fresh opportunity to put something in the ground that your future will thank you for. But here's the secret. Seeds don't look like harvest. They're small, often unnoticed, and sometimes feel insignificant. That morning routine you're trying to build, that's a seed. The habit of prayer, the discipline to study, the moment you choose silence over anger, the time you give to help someone in need, all of that is seed work. You don't need to see results right away to know something is growing. Growth happens underground before it ever happens in public. That's why many people give up too soon. They plant, then walk away because the field looks the same. But nothing changes on the surface until consistency happens below. The ground doesn't betray your faithfulness. It reveals it over time. That's why every single day matters. What you do when nobody is clapping, when no one is watching, when there's no applause. That is the seed season. That's where legacy begins. Have you ever watched someone who seems to have made it and thought they're lucky? No, they're planted, they're rooted. What you're seeing is the result of years of sowing, watering, pruning, and waiting. Seeds don't shout, but they do speak in time. You don't have to announce your greatness when your fruit can show it for you. Because fruit is the loudest evidence of silent discipline. You want your life to be different. Start treating your days like sacred ground. You don't have to plant everything at once. But you do have to plant something. One seed of discipline, one act of obedience, one moment of courage, one word of encouragement, one choice to let go. Every single one of those small acts carries the DNA of destiny. The future isn't built in a day, it's built daily. Look at a mighty tree. It didn't start strong, it started buried, forgotten, in the dark. But it didn't panic, it stayed rooted. And with time, it broke through the soil and stretched toward the sky. The same principle applies to you. You may feel buried right now, but maybe you're not buried, maybe you're planted. And there's a difference. Buried things are meant to be forgotten. Planted things are meant to rise. People often say they're waiting on the right season to start. But the truth is, every season is seed season. Don't wait for ideal conditions to sow the life you dream of. Farmers don't complain about the wind. They adjust their planting. They understand that waiting too long can cost the whole harvest. Some of you have ideas, dreams, visions, but you're waiting for the perfect time. Let me tell you something real. The perfect time is a myth. The best time is now. The seed won't grow if it stays in your pocket. You might think the work you're doing doesn't matter because no one sees it, but God sees every seed. He honors faithfulness, not flashiness. You don't need a stage, you need soil. That quiet place where you sow love, where you practice self-control, where you choose growth over comfort, that's where transformation begins. The gym you don't want to go to, that's a seed. The book you commit to reading, that's a seed. The budget you stick to, that's a seed. They may look small, but they are loaded with potential. Seeds don't look like what they become. An apple seed doesn't look like an orchard, but it carries one. Just because your life doesn't look like your dream yet doesn't mean it's not on the way. But here's the key. You must be willing to plant in faith. Some people wait to feel motivated, but a wise farmer doesn't plant based on feelings. They plant based on principles. If you only sow when you feel like it, your life will be ruled by mood instead of mission. Every conversation you have with your children, every moment you choose integrity at work, every time you serve without recognition, it's all seed. And don't be surprised if the harvest doesn't show up where you planted. Sometimes the blessing comes from a different direction, but it's still tied to the seed you sowed. That's why you keep sowing, even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when it's slow. Because purpose isn't built in public. It's planted in private. Your future is a reflection of your sowing strategy. If you sow chaos, don't expect peace. If you sow laziness, don't expect greatness. But if you sow discipline, faith, love, patience, you will reap a life that reflects that consistency. And you'll look back and realize that every single day you thought didn't matter, mattered deeply. Weeds don't need your permission to grow. They just need your neglect. That's why you have to be intentional with your life. You can't afford to just let your days pass you by. Time is not just ticking, it's talking. It's asking you, what will you do with me today? Because what you do with time is what you do with your life. Each morning you wake up is a question, and the answer is your action. So today, don't waste the seed. Don't despise the seed. Don't hide the seed. Plant it, protect it, water it, speak over it. Because what you're faithful to today determines what you'll be trusted with tomorrow. Delay is the enemy of destiny. Delay is the enemy of destiny. Every time you hesitate, every time you say tomorrow, every time you convince yourself that you're not ready, you are making a decision to pause purpose. You are pressing snooze on your calling. You're not avoiding failure. You're avoiding becoming. And that delay, it's expensive because time doesn't pause for your fear. It doesn't wait for your confidence to catch up. Life keeps moving, and with every second that passes, so does an opportunity you were born to seize. You see, delay wears a mask. It doesn't always look like laziness. Sometimes it looks like overthinking. Sometimes it looks like planning endlessly without ever launching. Sometimes it disguises itself as perfectionism. You keep telling yourself, I'll start when I have everything together. But perfection is a myth, and waiting for it is like chasing a shadow at sunset. You'll run forever and never touch it. Destiny doesn't demand perfect people. It demands decisive ones. It calls for those who are willing to step even when they feel unsure, to move forward even if they're scared. The enemy of your future isn't failure. It's the delay that stops you from even trying. Think about that book you were supposed to write, that business idea you've had for years, the forgiveness you've been holding back, the relationship you haven't mended. Those are all casualties of delay. And every time you delay, you feed the lie that there will always be more time. But let me tell you something, raw and real time is not loyal to your intentions. It honors act and rewards those who move. Not those who dream, not those who wish, but those who do. You can have all the vision in the world, but without execution, it's just imagination. Dreams are only powerful when you wake up and work. Imagine a construction site. You've got bricks, cement, the blueprint, the workers, everything ready. But the builder keeps saying, let's wait until the weather is perfect. So the foundation never gets poured. The house is never built. That's how many of us treat our destiny. We've got the skills, the ideas, the confirmation, the vision, but we keep stalling. We've become professional dreamers instead of active builders. Some people are addicted to the idea of greatness, but allergic to the process of becoming great. They love the feeling of destiny, but not the discipline it requires. Because here's the truth: purpose is not passive. It's not a package that shows up at your door one day. It's something you chase down, wrestle with, cry through, and fight for daily. And delay is the one thing that quietly kills that pursuit. You ever leave food on the stove too long and come back to find it burned? That's what delay does to your calling. The longer you wait, the more your edge gets dull, the more your passion becomes complacency. What started as a fire turns into ashes if you keep waiting for a better moment. You think you're playing it safe by waiting, but you're actually risking everything. Think of a runner on the track. The gun goes off, everyone takes off, but one runner hesitates just for 2 seconds. That's it, just 2. But in a race, 2 seconds is the difference between first place and last. In life, hesitation is the gap between purpose fulfilled and purpose buried. Delay doesn't just slow you down. It disqualifies you from moments you were made for. You've got to wake up with the urgency that today matters. Because it does. You don't have forever. You don't have endless time. What you have is now, and now is pregnant with opportunity, but opportunity doesn't knock twice. Sometimes it doesn't even knock, it whispers. And if you're too busy waiting for lightning, you'll miss the spark. Let's be honest, most of us aren't confused. We're just scared. We know exactly what to do. We're just afraid of what it will cost. But what if I told you the real cost is in the waiting? Every day you delay is a day your destiny stays on hold, a day your impact is postponed, a day your transformation is paused. You were not born to live on standby. You were born to shift things, to move things, to become something that shakes the earth. You've been circling the same mountain long enough. You've been talking about the same goals, the same vision, the same plan, but nothing has changed because nothing moves until you do. And while you delay, others are deciding. While you stall, others are stepping, and they're not more qualified than you. They're just more committed. You want to know what separates the impactful from the invisible? Action, not talent, not education, not background, just the will to move when everyone else is standing still. Delay is comfortable because it feels like preparation. But the truth is, it's procrastination wearing a suit. Don't let fear dress itself up as wisdom. Sometimes the wisest thing you can do is start, even if your knees are shaking. The clock isn't your enemy. Delay is, because time is neutral. It becomes your ally or your adversary based on what you do with it. The longer you wait, the louder the doubts grow. The longer you stall, the more average becomes acceptable. You've got to rebel against delay like it's trying to rob your family, because it is. It's robbing your legacy, your influence, your growth, your impact. And the only way to fight back is to move. Not later, not next year, not once you feel more confident. Now, alignment attracts assignment. Alignment is not just about being in the right place. It's about becoming the right person. You can pray for blessings, opportunities, open doors, favor, and breakthrough all you want. But if your life is out of alignment, those things will pass you by like a signal that your receiver isn't tuned to catch. You can't attract what your character cannot sustain. You can't carry an assignment you're not built for. And you're not built for it until your life, your mindset, your habits, and your heart come into alignment with the purpose that was designed for you. Have you ever driven a car that's out of alignment? It drifts. Even when you're holding the wheel steady, it pulls to the left or the right, and you have to fight just to stay on track. That's how many people live their lives, constantly fighting their own direction. Not because they're going the wrong way, but because they're not aligned. Their thoughts say one thing, but their actions say another. Their heart wants purpose, but their habits chase comfort. Their mouth declares faith, but their decisions are rooted in fear. When you're out of alignment, even good things feel heavy. Even blessings can feel like burdens, not because they aren't meant for you, but because you're not positioned to carry them properly. Alignment is about integrity, the inner structure that holds everything together. You cannot walk in your assignment if you're divided within. Double-mindedness delays destiny. You can't say you want to lead others if you can't lead yourself. You can't say you're ready for influence if you still need approval. You can't step into your next if you're still anchored to your past. Alignment is about getting your life in order, not for the applause, but for the assignment. Because when your life aligns, heaven responds. Favor starts finding you. People start recognizing something different about you. Resources start coming, not because you begged for them, but because you became ready for them. You don't have to chase your assignment. Your assignment is already searching for you. It's just waiting for the version of you that's aligned. That's why certain doors haven't opened yet. That's why some platforms haven't come. That's why you feel like you're always preparing, but never releasing. It's not punishment, it's protection. Because premature exposure can destroy potential. God won't give you something that your character will sabotage. So He waits. He waits for your alignment, for your motives to match your mission, for your posture to reflect humility, for your consistency to become stronger than your convenience. Look around your life. Are your relationships aligned? Are the people you're connected to pushing you toward your purpose or pulling you from it? Sometimes alignment means making hard cuts. It means saying no to good things so you can say yes to God things. It means letting go of what's familiar so you can embrace what's foundational, because the truth is, some of you are too crowded to be called. Your life is full, but not fruitful. Your schedule is packed, but your soul is starving. And the only way to make room for your assignment is to realign your priorities. Do you remember a time when everything just felt off? Even though nothing was technically wrong, that's a signal. That's your spirit telling you something is misaligned. You're saying yes to things that don't match your season. You're pouring into people who don't pour back. You're showing up for everything except the call that was placed in your life. That feeling of off isn't confusion, it's conviction. It's your inner compass pointing you back to alignment. Alignment requires brutal honesty. You've got to look in the mirror and ask, does my routine reflect my destiny? Because if your daily life doesn't look like where you say you're going, you're not aligned, you're just fantasizing. Destiny isn't magical. It's methodical. It's the result of thousands of little decisions stacking up in the direction of purpose. It's choosing growth over comfort, progress over perfection, and obedience over opinion. A tree doesn't struggle to grow toward the sun. It's designed to do so. In the same way, when your life is aligned with your assignment, things start flowing. Ideas come faster. Peace settles deeper. You stop striving and you start thriving. You stop forcing things and start flowing in things. You stop asking for clarity and start embodying it. Because alignment isn't about perfection, it's about positioning. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be in line with where you're called to go. Alignment will cost you. It will cost your ego. It will cost your excuses. It will cost your bad habits, your need to please people, your addiction to applause. But what you gain in exchange is everything. You gain momentum, you gain clarity, and most of all, you gain access. There are some doors that only open when your life is in order, some opportunities that only respond to obedience, and some influence that can only be trusted to those who've built the internal structure to carry it. If you're frustrated about where you are, don't ask what's missing. Ask what's misaligned. Stop asking for more and start becoming someone who can handle more. Because when the structure is ready, the weight will come. When the vessel is prepared, the oil will flow. When the heart is in position, the heavens release. Alignment is not about being busy, it's about being built. You are not waiting on your assignment. Your assignment is waiting on you to align. Legacy is built daily, not eventually. Legacy is not a moment. It's not a viral post, a big paycheck, or a standing ovation. Legacy is a rhythm. It's the echo of your daily habits, the footprint of your small decisions, the residue of your discipline when no one is watching. You don't build a legacy in one grand event. You build it in the mundane, in the repetition, in the early mornings and late nights, in the choices you make when quitting feels more comfortable than continuing. Legacy isn't something you leave behind. It's something you build up every single day, brick by brick, hour by hour. Look around at people who seem to carry weight, people who command respect even in silence. They didn't wake up with that. They earned it. They showed up when they didn't feel like it. They sacrificed when nobody clapped for it. They mastered consistency in a world addicted to convenience. You want legacy? Stop waiting for your big break and start showing up like the break is already inside of you. Most people think legacy is built eventually, someday when life slows down, when money stacks up, when time becomes more available. But someday is the enemy of significance. Someday is the graveyard where dreams go to die. Because the truth is, you only get one day at a time. Legacy is not a future event. It's a present mindset. It's doing what matters most now, not later. It's parenting your kids today like your last name will echo through their character. It's treating your craft with excellence today, even if no one is clapping. It's guarding your integrity today, even if no one is watching. You don't accidentally stumble into legacy. You become it on purpose. That means every word you speak, every attitude you carry, every decision you make is shaping something bigger than the moment you're in. Legacy is not built by loud actions. It's carved out in quiet commitment. It's how you treat the people who can't help you. It's how you carry yourself when there's nothing to gain. It's how you respond when you're wronged and no one is looking. Because the truth is, legacy isn't what people say when you're around. It's what they remember when you're gone. Think about a seed in the ground. Nobody sees it. It doesn't look impressive. But every day it's growing. Every day it's breaking through. And eventually, the tree it becomes is strong enough to give shade to generations. That's how legacy works. Your faithfulness in the dark seasons, in the routine, in the pressure, in the obscurity, that's where your roots go deep. That's where your character is formed. That's where the strength comes from. So don't despise your process. Don't discount your daily. Don't undermine your now. You want to build a legacy that your children's children can feel. Be consistent. Show up with discipline, not just desire. Because desire is emotional, discipline is intentional. Desire will give you a spark. Discipline will give you a flame. And the ones who build legacy are not the ones who burn bright for a moment, but the ones who keep burning even when the fuel feels low. Let's get practical. Legacy is choosing to forgive instead of holding on to bitterness, not because it's easy, but because your future is too powerful to carry dead weight. Legacy is choosing to be excellent at work even when your boss doesn't notice, because your standard isn't based on applause, it's based on who you are. Legacy is waking up to pray, to study, to grow, to love, to lead even if nobody sees your effort, because you're not doing it for recognition, you're doing it because it's who you're becoming. People often chase success and forget that success fades, but significance lasts. Success is about what you build for yourself. Legacy is about what you build that outlives you. So stop measuring your worth by trophies and titles. Start measuring it by the truth you live by and the transformation you cause in others. You're not just raising a child, you're raising a generation. You're not just starting a business, you're building a platform that speaks when you're no longer in the room. You're not just showing up at church or in your community, you're leaving behind a blueprint that says this is what it looks like to live with purpose. And here's the secret. Legacy feels boring while you're building it because it's not glamorous, it's not always loud, it's not always noticed. But years later, people will look back and say they never gave up. They stood for something. They were the same person in public and in private. That's the kind of life that shakes nations. That's the kind of influence that can't be faked. Legacy is not about having a platform. It's about being solid when no one's clapping. So make the call. Start the journal. Teach the lesson. Speak the truth. Live the values. Guard your character. Build your family. Say no to what's shallow. Say yes to what's eternal. Because whether you realize it or not, every ordinary day is laying the groundwork for an extraordinary impact. And the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more legacy builders. People whose lives don't just shine, they ignite something in others. People who aren't just remembered for what they did, but for who they were and for what they left burning behind them. As you stand at the edge of your future, remember this: greatness is not given. It is earned, it is crafted, chiseled, and built through each decision, each action, and each day you commit to becoming the best version of yourself. Your legacy is not waiting for you at the finish line, it's waiting for you to start running. Your purpose is not waiting for the perfect moment, it's waiting for you to seize it now. You are not waiting for life to come to you, life is waiting for you to show up and claim what is already yours. There's a saying that goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. Stop waiting for your circumstances to align with your expectations. The truth is, the world doesn't wait for perfection. The world waits for action. It waits for those who are willing to rise, to risk, to fall, and to get back up again. It waits for those who will commit to building their legacy, one small decision at a time, no matter the obstacles. You have a choice. You can live a life of excuses, waiting for the right time, or you can step into your calling today. You can continue to let fear dictate your future, or you can choose to let your faith in yourself and your purpose be the driving force that propels you forward. Life doesn't give you more time, it gives you opportunities. Opportunities to choose courage over comfort. Opportunities to choose discipline over distraction. Opportunities to choose your destiny over your doubts. Do not underestimate the power of your actions. Do not underestimate the power of your consistency. The person you are becoming today will shape the person you become tomorrow. You are laying the foundation for the future you desire. You are the architect of your own fate. The seeds you plant today, the work you do in silence, the discipline you apply, and the character you develop, that is your legacy in the making. Your legacy is not just about what you leave behind, it's about who you become along the way. So ask yourself, what are you doing today to move closer to your legacy? What actions are you taking that will impact not only your life, but the lives of those around you? What are you doing to become the person who will leave a mark on this world, not just with your words, but with your actions, your heart, your consistency? Because in the end, it's not the applause you receive that matters. It's the impact you have on others. It's the way you live, the way you love, and the way you lead. You are not defined by the mistakes of your past or the setbacks you faced. You are defined by the decisions you make today. Every single decision you make is a step towards who you are becoming. You have the power to change your future right now. You are not stuck. You are not trapped. The only thing holding you back is the belief that you can't do it. And that belief, it's a lie. You were born for greatness. You were born to make a difference. Your life has purpose, and that purpose is bigger than the obstacles in front of you. Let this truth sink in. It's never too late to start. It's never too late to become the person you were meant to be. Your past does not have to define your future. Your struggles do not have to hold you back. The only thing that matters is what you choose to do today, what you choose to believe, and how you choose to show up in your life. Every day is an opportunity to redefine your path, to realign with your purpose, and to live your legacy with passion, purpose, and power. So don't wait for the world to give you permission. Don't wait for someone else to give you the green light. The world doesn't need another spectator. It needs a creator, a builder, a visionary who dares to take risks, who dares to stand up and say, I am here to make a difference. That's the kind of legacy that lives on. That's the kind of legacy that changes lives, that shapes communities, that transforms the world. In the words of the legendary Steve Jobs, your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. So ask yourself, do you love what you're doing? Are you passionate about building your legacy? Because the world doesn't need half-hearted efforts. It needs your full commitment. It needs your full heart. It needs your full potential. This is your time. Your legacy is waiting. The question is, will you rise to the occasion? Will you choose to leave a legacy of greatness, of purpose, of impact? The future is not a distant place you go to. The future is being created right now with every decision you make, with every step you take. Make it count. Make it meaningful. Make it yours. The world is waiting for the greatness that is inside of you.